Phil Black joins us now live from Moscow, where Syria's foreign minister and his Russian counterpart are pushing for peace talks. And Phil, the foreign ministers of Syria and Russia, we saw them earlier. They were sitting side by side at a press event there. Can you tell us more about what they are calling for?
Well, Christy, I think the fundamental message from the Russian Foreign Ministry today was that it is not stopping, it's not giving up on its effort, its diplomatic effort to try and block a military strike on Syria. That has been its fundamental goal throughout the Syrian crisis, and even with the imminent threat of a military strike by the United States, it's clearly not giving up on that. So today, while a lot of the comments from the Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, were very similar to things we've heard before, the Russian position is very consistent. As we know, the overall theme was reminding the world that Russia believes there are other options for dealing with this. In particular, Russia is still continuing to push its idea of a big international peace conference involving all parties with no preconditions to sit down and thrash out some sort of political settlement, because it believes that ultimately that is the only way to solve the Syrian crisis in the long term. And Russia believes that any sort of military strike, even a limited one, will do a great deal of damage to the chances of trying to resolve this peacefully, diplomatically. Sitting next to Foreign Minister Lavrov was his Syrian counterpart, who said that he's on board. Syria is very much on board with a peace conference of this nature. Both of them said the Syrian opposition should make the same commitment. But the other point that the Syrian Foreign Minister kept coming back to was that any sort of strike by the United States would ultimately only assist another enemy of the United States. He kept talking about Al-Qaeda. Let's take a little bit of a listen to what more of the Syrian Foreign Minister said today during this press conference.
How Obama claims a democracy and does not listen to the voices of those opposing this aggression.
So Walid al-Muallim, the Syrian Foreign Minister there, and the other message that he brought to this press conference today was the gratitude of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to President Putin of Russia for all the support Russia has shown Syria through this crisis, Christy.
So both foreign ministers calling for diplomatic action while also delivering that warning to the U.S. Now, in that interview with Charlie Rose, the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, he suggested that his allies would retaliate if the West attacked. Now, would Russia retaliate?
Russia has pretty much ruled out the idea of retaliating militarily or getting involved in any sort of military skirmish here. But other than that, the Russian government, the Russian president have been pretty coy on precisely what they would do. Last week, President Putin was talking about Russia's plans, ideas, without going into too much detail. The one thing he did hint at was the possibility that sales of sensitive or very capable Russian weapons, which currently are not proceeding, could be reviewed, perhaps pointing to the possibility that Russia could enhance the weapons assistance, the military assistance that it is already giving Syria at this point. It would be interesting to see what other practical assistance Russia would be prepared to offer. But I think the other likelihood, certainly, is a continued deep freeze in Russian-US relations. Relations are already pretty rocky, and the expectation is that should the United States proceed with a military strike against repeated calls from the Russian government, that would only do further harm to relations between these two countries, Christy.
All right, Phil Black reporting live from Moscow for us. Thank you.